The Wilsons River source is a key source for our regional water supply. The water from the Wilsons River supplements our supply from Rocky Creek Dam, from Emigrant Creek Dam, and from the groundwater supplies that we use from the Alstonville Plateau and from the coastal sands aquifer down at Woodburn. Rous extracts water from the Wilsons River here at Howard's Grass. We're about 5 kilometres upstream from Lismore. From here we extract the water and pump it up to the high lift pumping station, and from there it's pumped to our water treatment plant up at Nightcap Water Treatment Plant. From there it can gravity flow across the region to consumers up as far north as Ocean Shores and south to Evans Head and everywhere in between. So the Wilsons River catchment is a working catchment. That means there's a wide range of land uses and activities that go on in the catchment. There's a wide range of rural activities, agriculture, there's a wide range of urban settlement in the catchment as well. All of these different activities present a potential threat to water quality. At Rous, we're concerned about the potential for the introduction of pathogens, nutrients, sediment, and also herbicides and pesticides. We're really careful that we manage all of these threats to water quality at every step in the water quality process. Rous operates under the Australian Drinking Water Guidelines, which specify a catchment to tap approach to water quality. The catchment is the first barrier, the first source of protection for the water supply. And so we need to be aware of threats to water quality and have plans in place to address these threats. Today we're here to talk about Rous's River Reach program. In the Wilsons River, we started the River Reach program in 2009 when Rous first started supplying water from the Wilsons River here at Howard's Grass. Our objective was to work with landholders up and down the river with a real focus on linking up the restoration areas in the vicinity of Lismore with the Boat Harbour Nature Reserve. And so we've worked with landholders up and down this reach of river to identify water quality threats, to identify ecological integrity issues, and work with those landholders to put in place positive plans. On the Rous property here at Howard's Grass, Rous fenced out and removed cattle access from all of the riparian areas around Lagoon Creek and the Wilsons River. We undertook a camphor conversion project where all of the rainforest regrowth we've converted to sustainable subtropical rainforest cover. We've planted about 15,000 trees to provide a buffer between agricultural land uses and the river. Rous is committed to undertaking long-term water quality and ecological improvements in this reach of river. So we've been working for 15 years on this reach between Boat Harbour and Lismore, and now we're working up onto the next reach upstream, working from Boat Harbour to Eltham. But what I'd like to look at is the outcome from 15 years of restoration work here on this site and the results that we're observing.
As part of Rous's first work in this Wilsons catchment area, we undertook some regeneration works here at Howard's Grass. So this was through Ralph Woodford and his team back in 2008 onwards. So now we're looking at a forest that's coming on to 15 years old, and the process used is primarily to establish pioneer trees, which can then be taken over by later succession rainforest. Because you have to understand, when we're planting in this environment, it's very frost prone, it's flood prone, it has a lot of risks. Our team undertook some very groundbreaking work here on this site, and you can see the results behind me. So a lot of the framework are now mature acacia species, which are close to end of life, senescence. And underneath in the understory, you can see things like black beans, red ash, thorny pea, pepperberries, and a whole variety of other larger and longer lived rainforest trees. Rous continues on with this work, and our bush regen team still comes through this site and maintains it, and it's progressing towards a great state. So the benefits are multiple. We're going to have much better water quality, of course, because we're reducing a lot of the risks that were here before. So we had cattle impact and soil loss just through erosive forces of floods and droughts. And just restoring that water cycle, and obviously we're at a very small scale at this stage in the Wilsons. We're beginning to see good changes. We look from the aerial shot, particularly between Lismore and Boat Harbour, some of the impacts of Rous's work over these last 15 years. Yeah, another benefit is the connectivity. There's small patches of intact vegetation in this area, and linking them together, we get that barrier approach and that protection of a larger system working along the riparian zone. So we think about Boat Harbour Nature Reserve, that's really the key biodiversity hotspot in this area. We're working from Lismore to Boat Harbour Nature Reserve, and then another reach section is from Boat Harbour Nature Reserve up towards Eltham Village. So the overall challenges in this reach, many of them are environmental, many are the risks of the flood and the drought and the frosts, and establishing what was in most cases big scrub rainforest into an area which is much degraded. So those environmental risks need to be overcome just through skills of bush regenerators and the process used. And other challenges are engagement with landholders and understanding where they're coming from with their land management and what they want to see. And often we're getting to that stage where we can see the co-benefits. So it can help landholders in their management, so protecting their creeks and their waterways. And it's also going to help the rest of us with our water supply.
I've been working on this project of reforestation of the riverbanks for the last 30 years, and as you can see over behind us here, some very mature hoop pine trees. They were planted about 30 years ago, so that was the first project. There's another project then done with Lismore Council further on. So I started with just fencing off the riverbank to start with, because as we know, the state of the riverbank here is very steep and not in very good shape when you've got cattle running up and down and eroding it. So I've been working on it for a while. Obviously you look at the state of the river here. Unfortunately, I grew up here, and the state of the river is nothing like it used to be when I was growing up. So, and look at Lismore, it's just terrible. So it's my little bit, it's only a drop in the bucket, I suppose, but it's my little bit of doing it. This little project we're working on now, it's something I've wanted this particular creek to be done for some years, and fortunately Rous and Lismore Council have come to the party and funding it, which is great. So, and obviously as a team here today, it's just amazing the turnout and the number of people that are here today to do the planning and the work. So it's just a fruition, I suppose, of many years of waiting. It will have a little yeah, I've said it will reduce by maybe 3 cows, the number of cows I can run, I suppose, but yeah, it's the price you pay. I'm happy to pay that price. I'm certainly hoping the quality of the creek and the water that's running into the Wilsons River, and obviously the Rous catchment, which is downstream of here, that will improve. Obviously the wildlife, hopefully we'll have be able to, you can see we're joining up already revegetated areas of this tributary of the river. So hopefully we'll have the birds and the wildlife. It looks pretty.
One of the really important things Stuart was talking about collaboration is actually the contribution of landholders to this River Reach program. So things like provision of fencing, contributions of labour in kind. A lot of work gets done by landholders just ongoing, which we're really grateful for. And also reductions in the area of grazing land, which in the short term may be seen as a loss, but in the longer term contributes to ongoing sustainability for landholders in terms of how hydrated their landscapes are, the quality of the soil that they have on their land, the quality of the water that's flowing into the river, which is a sort of co-benefit for the wider community. And what we're seeing is when one landholder becomes involved in the River Reach program and experiences some success in terms of the restoration efforts that are occurred, we see uptake from more and more landholders and more willingness to be involved over time. This kind of creates a snowball effect in some ways as to that connectivity that we were talking about earlier. Not only are we getting connectivity with the riparian restoration that's occurring, but also connectivity between landholders within the river reaches that we're working on. It becomes a really great project because the more involvement we get and the more that landholders can see the benefits of this kind of work, the more we get to do.
We're seeing the power of collaboration with this work. So we've got the Wilsons River Landcare, which have been going for over 30 years in this area, leading the way. We've got Rous, we've been on this site for over 15 years and now working further in the catchment. We've got Lismore City Council with their Rural Landholder Initiative. and landholders themselves, which are taking it off on their own bat and working on their own properties and working with us. And we've got national parks with the Boat Harbour Nature Reserve and also Boat Harbour Landcare Group. So it's really exciting and we're looking forward to more of the same. This is leaving a legacy of process of how the bush regen can be done, and it's something which is, we can all build from.